I'm here to share with you the details of a debaucherous weekend I had because this is a question and a conversation I have a lot with women, my clients a lot of the time, talking about how to execute, quote unquote, better, more supportive eating in the context of honestly a life well lived. And I do hope you're all living your life well and you have beautiful social connections and you have celebration and joy and events and moments. And I love that these moments and celebration and social connections and outings surround or are surrounded by food and drink. I think that's beautiful. I don't want you to not have that in your life. The benefit of social connections and being social and celebratory and very human. That's a very human thing to do. The health benefits of that are so tremendous that if we all packed away and hid in our homes alone, perfectly adhering to our diets, I don't think we'd be healthy, happy, well living humans. I think we need these social outings. This is one of the most important health parameters that I personally know I need to work on. Let me explain. I went to a wellness conference and I was listening to all the talks and it was very interesting to me. And I was kind of cataloging, like, I think I know most of this stuff. Yes, I've heard that. Yes, I've implemented that already. And I realized I kind of cataloged that, okay, I've got food pretty dialed. I like the way I eat. I feel so nourished. I feel just so good in my body. I have lost weight and maintained weight loss. I have excellent, great metabolic health. My cholesterol is perfect. My HbA1c is perfect. Yeah, menopause is in play, but we're not going to talk about that. Sleep, I'm a masterful sleeper. I think movement wise, I do pretty good. Obviously, I have a desk job like many of us do, but I try to get up and move around and I love exercise and I lift weights. So I feel like I've got a lot of good stuff going on. I've got most of it dialed to an extent where it's like it's working. I'm healthy. I feel good in my body. Then a speaker got up on stage and his talk was about how we're dying of loneliness. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, that's the one thing I haven't really been front burnering on my health journey was my connections with humans. And who knows if this is a COVID thing, holdover, or because I have a digital online job where I'm constantly on Zoom, constantly talking to people, but not connecting with loved ones. And I can busy myself and I live in the country and it's a little far for my friends to visit. And I don't go visit them and we are too busy. Like our group chat, it's like, hey, should we get together for happy hour? Can't. Okay, I'll try again next month. We don't even bother. We're barely even bothering. I stopped playing sports. I stopped really doing stuff. And I just noticed that it became really apparent to me at this conference, like, uh-oh, this is the one big factor of health that I've dropped the ball on and I'm concerned. Anyway, I offer that story because I want you to have your social outings. Like, we're not canceling those in the name of health. That's insane to me. And I see this on my social feed where it's like, if you take your goals seriously, you need to be really disciplined. And you might have to tell your friends you're not going out to the restaurant or the bar or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? It's more healthy to say yes to the social outing than to say no to it. That's my perspective. You know what? I'm a hedonic human, as are you, just for the record. We all are. We are creatures driven by pleasure. We are creatures driven by a need for community. And if we pretend we're not, or we push back against that, we are going to feel our health degrade. It's that serious. And I'll say one more thing on this before I move on, because I do have a point today. The blue zones, these centenarians that are living forever in these certain sections of the world. It's like, why are they living so long? What's their secret? And it's like, well, they eat a lot of beans, they eat a lot of fish, or they drink red wine, or they don't drink red wine, or their birth and death records are poorly maintained. It's a big one, actually, apparently. But one of the truly consistent pieces in the blue zones is that they have community, strong sense of community. And that seems to be a factor. And of course it is. Of course it is. We are tribal creatures. We are meant to be around each other. So I want you to have your social outings. We're not having those. That's insane. And yeah, social outings are often centered around food and drink. And of course, why wouldn't they be? They have been for millennia. Do you ever watch like medieval movies and shows set in like medieval times, like kings and queens and princes and knights, and they're just pounding ale, massive feasts, getting wasted on ale. I don't know, fermented drinks, like sloppy debauchery, right? We don't have to go debauchery. We don't have to go that far, but it's been in our heritage for quite some time. And I just think it's crazy. I just think it's generally crazy when people in the name of health think they're going to somehow change the fabric of who they are, like at a DNA level. It's like, oh, good luck with that. Like that's in your DNA, baby. You're stuck with that. You can white knuckle it through discipline as long as you want, but at the end of the day, you're a hedonist, baby. So all that preamble, because I'm going to tell you a story about my weekend, which was a girls' trip to the mountains for one of my girlfriends is getting married. And we had a bachelorette weekend. It feels weird to say that when you're pushing 50, but anyway, we had a bachelorette weekend in the mountains. And it was wild and crazy. And when I talk about this with my clients, when my clients come into the coaching call and say, uh-oh, I've got this weekend event coming up, what should I do? We'll kind of casually pre-run the tape. Like, okay, well, when are you heading out? Where are you staying? What's the plan? Like, do you guys have reservations somewhere? Is it like potluck? Are you staying in an Airbnb? Are you staying in a hotel? Are you flying? Are you driving? Like, what's the deal? Because we can kind of like preemptively make a light plan. I like the idea of making a light plan or just having a sense of like what's going on. I also, by the way, love being in the moment. I think that's very healthy. So I'm kind of always listening in these conversations like, well, how can we have both? How can we try to be as supportive and goal directed as we can? And the goal for most of my clients is just to not feel like hot garbage at the end of the weekend. Like nobody wants to feel like they've lost all their progress over the weekend. That's not a good feeling mentally and emotionally. It's not great physically either, quite honestly, but for me, it's more of the disappointment that I want my clients to avoid. I don't want you to feel disappointed and like you have to start again on Monday, right? So how can we have the fun without overdoing it? That's the skill to master. I'll do this kind of inventory with them. Like, what's the plan? What can we do here? But before I went away this weekend, it's like, well, I don't really know. We had a lot of things on the agenda. This was a very, I don't know what it is about women, but like as we get to a certain age, we become very structured in our planning. So a couple of the gals were planning this trip and we had a lot of things on our agenda. We had a potluck, we had a photo shoot, we had a dinner and a hike. We had a lot of things planned. I kind of had a vague idea of what was going to go on, but also didn't really know because haven't been to a bachelorette party in a long, long time. And for whatever it's worth, it was a bunch of different friend groups coming together. So it's not like your besties. It's just a big, big gaggle of women. So who knows? I wanted to share some of my takeaways from my weekend of debauchery. It's Monday. I got back yesterday. And it's like, am I starting again on Monday? I'm not, because I've been at this way of eating for 15 years. I lost all my weight and have maintained it. And I don't feel like I've had any backslide. My health markers that I mentioned earlier, like I didn't ruin my cholesterol or my HbA1c. These things aren't that transient. You can't really ruin things that quickly. One weekend won't actually ruin anything. It's if you decide you ruined it and then you just let that shame spiral take you down into a dark place, then you can do some damage. But a one is nothing. A one weekend is nothing. A one is nothing unless I decide I screwed up. And then I go down that shame spiral, but I won't do that. I just don't do that anymore. Love it. Love that for me. So it's Monday and I'm kind of just like, okay, in the spirit of inventorying what happened and how I could have maybe made a different choice, just out of curiosity, not with any kind of guilt, what could I have done differently so I don't feel quite so disgusting today? Because I don't feel good today. Feel a little bloated, feel a little indigestion, bathroom stuff not good, a little bit of like the anxiety after having too many drinks. Like, oh, was I socially awkward? Ooh, was I weird? You know, you get like that. I don't like that feeling. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to die, but it doesn't feel good. And I really like feeling good. Like, I just love feeling so good. And I don't really like feeling not so good. And I think that's probably true of everybody. We don't really like feeling not good. With no judgment, only curiosity. Why do I feel a little off today? And what maybe is the takeaway lesson? No judgment at all. No regret, simply curiosity. Number one, the food situation this particular weekend was well and truly out of control. I don't think there was any way I could have maybe made it better, but here's what I did. So Friday night, we get to the resort, and in the group chat for this bachelorette weekend, it was like, okay, Friday night's potluck, so put in the chat what you're going to bring. And it was like pasta salad, cupcakes, chips, popcorn, little cheesecakes. It was a lot of shit like that. And I was like, okay, I will go to Costco and buy a ton of chicken wings. If there's a barbecue at the resort, I will barbecue chicken wings. Somebody else was also going to go get some barbecue brisket from a barbecue joint. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, at least there's protein. Because I mean, if I'm getting there after work on Friday, I want to be actually hungry for a proper meal. I don't want to just eat chips all night. So I'm like, well, I'm going to bring meat and then somebody else is going to get some brisket from a barbecue joint. I reluctantly took myself to Costco. I hate Costco. I hate it so much. I don't know why you guys like it. I don't know what you see in it. I did get a good deal on some avocados. I will say that. But like, I hate going in there, but I did. I went in there, I bought 2 trays of chicken wings. That's a lot of chicken wings, right? Drove out to the mountains. As soon as I got there, I started the barbecue and I just stood there for an hour cooking chicken wings while the girls were in having snacks and drinking. It's like, I don't care. I'm going to make these chicken wings so we all can have some damn protein in us because we all need it because we're all ladies and we don't eat enough protein. Barbecue chicken wings, by the way, elite chicken wing preparation method. You can keep your air fryer. I am all about that barbecue, baby. Season them up, hot wings, lemon pepper, salt and pepper, Parmesan herb. I brought all my spice blends from home. I made up buckets of wings. And then the girls brought the barbecue from the barbecue joint. So I had a little plate of meat, nibbling while also chit-chatting. And by the way, I was also drinking alcohol. I brought 2 bottles of red wine for the whole weekend. Spoiler alert, it didn't last that long. But on the food thing, ate the chicken wings, ate the barbecue, feeling pretty good about that. But, then the drinks start flowing and then you're having fun. It's getting a little crazy. It's getting a little loud. Now we start playing games. It just feels right to keep drinking and eating snacks while you're playing dumb games. The food situation was a little bit out of control, and adding alcohol to the mix. This is one of the downstream effects of alcohol that I think is worth talking about. So I want to talk about alcohol next. First of all, food situation out of control. That is what it is. There's more food scenarios I want to run through with you. And I also want to talk about alcohol. So let's make sure we keep ourselves organized. Now we're having drinks and snacks, playing games. The first night got a little wild and crazy. I ended up staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning talking to my friend. And we were talking and continuing to have a drink. We're staying up too late. And then at 2 o'clock dragged ourselves to bed. We had to get up the next morning a little too early to go for this hike and photo shoot. So that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to wake up in the morning after a few hours of sleep and try to pull yourself together for a photo shoot at the top of a mountain. You had to hike up there, first of all. The hike was not that hard, but it did feel hard when you're tired and hungover, quite honestly. It's not a good feeling. It's just not a good feeling. Like, hello, you don't need a nutritionist to tell you that it's not a good feeling to consume too much alcohol the night before and then wake up in the morning and now you have a tummy ache because you're also eating a bunch of baked goods and treats while playing games and drinking wine until 2 a.m. It's not a good feeling. It's not a healthy behavior. Spoiler alert. So I didn't feel good the next morning. Whatever. We went, did the hike, did the photo shoot. Quite honestly, that was fun. We had a great time. Tons of laughs. So there you go. Social connections. Beautiful. Very healing. Very healing. Time in nature. Gorgeous mountains. Beautiful day. Sunshine. Amazingly healing. That'll cure your hangover and your anxiety in a heartbeat. Being with people, being in nature. There you go. We got down from the mountain and we had dinner reservations that night at a beautiful restaurant in town. Not until 7:30 though. So we were kind of like, hey, is anybody hungry? Should we go for lunch? So it was like 1 p.m. We went to a really popular spot in the town we were in for lunch, one of our favorite spots to go. It was funny. We all sit down at the table and one of the girls who's planning the bachelorette party, she's really kind of this ringleader. She's the boss of the bachelorette party. She said, okay, guys, don't forget we have dinner tonight at 7:30, so don't eat too much. So literally every girl at the table ordered the exact same salad and I ordered a New York strip. I ordered a whole ass steak dinner and then the girls all had salads. Here's what I'm thinking. It's like, well, I am hungry. Dinner's not for 6 more hours. I'm hungry now though, and it's early enough in the day. I don't really want to just save up all my eating for dinner time. I did that last night. I ate all night last night. Woke up today feeling disgusting. I don't like that feeling. I'm having a steak because I'm hungry now. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're looking at a salad on the menu and you're looking at a steak on the menu, the steak is actually the better choice every time. It's more satiating. It's more nourishing. It's probably honestly a lower calorie meal, higher protein meal. If you care about that shit, I don't know if I do, but if you do, I ate a steak for lunch. People were astonished. Oh my God, you're going to eat that much? We have dinner later tonight. It's like, yeah, it's not till later tonight. And it's tonight. It's tonight. Right now I'm hungry. And right now my body needs nourishment. So yeah, I'm having a steak. I don't feel guilty about eating a steak. I actually felt like a boss. I'm like, I'm sorry about your salads, gals. I got a steak here. I'm real happy. So then we went back to the rooms to just hang out for a while before dinner. I took a nap. Then we got ready for dinner, walked to dinner, and it was a family style meal, a big table of girls. So they did family style. They brought out the entrees and we all shared. And it was honestly not a lot of food. There was not a lot of food. And a lot of the girls were really griping because they were so hungry. And these little dishes came out and it's like we're sharing with each other. And it's like, well, you can't take too much, even though they're ravenously hungry. And the meal took ages. We weren't done eating until 10 p.m. This 3-course meal, gorgeous food, amazing food. I had enough because I wasn't that hungry. I had a steak earlier. So I got to have bites of everything. and felt very nicely satiated. The girls were hungry. After the restaurant to the bar, we got home from the bar, they had to have snacks at night. I just went to bed. Like late night snacks, not great. I learned that lesson the night before. I wasn't going to do it. So very weird, unpredictable food environment. But the one day that the food environment was in my control was the meal where we went to lunch at a restaurant. It's like, well, I'm going to order what I'm going to order and y'all can do whatever you want. I'm like, bring me a steak, break fast epically. I'm going to put down some good nourishment right now because I don't know what the rest of this damn day or weekend is going to bring. And it was the absolute right choice. Very nourishing, very good. Now I want to talk about alcohol. I mentioned that the Friday night, the first night we got there, we went a little crazy. We all did, as you would imagine. Alcohol is not healthy. I'll just let you spend a moment with that one. In case anybody forgot, it's not healthy. Pretty sure you knew that. Pretty sure you weren't drinking alcohol as a health food. Cool. Great. We've established that alcohol is not healthy. But how problematic is it? Well, from my perspective as a women's weight loss nutritionist that works on restoring metabolic function for my clients, it's not as big of a deal as you might think. So calorically, it's just calories. It's calories just like anything's calories. Like you can have a 200-calorie glass of wine or a 200-calorie smoothie. You can have a 200-calorie glass of wine or a 200-calorie handful of potato chips. Either way, right? It's calorically, it comes out in the wash. You can overconsume calories, and which will prevent weight loss and potentially encourage weight gain, but you can overconsume calories doing anything. If you have a big glass of wine and a big bowl of chips, who's to say which of those calories has caused the excess, right? Your body doesn't know. It doesn't say, oh, this person's drinking alcohol. Let's put some extra fat on their body. It doesn't work that way. Alcohol is a toxicant, just like anything else your liver has to process. Your cup of coffee in the morning, your liver has to process it. The acrylic nail dust that you inhale when you get your nails done, your liver has to process. The pollutants in the air, your liver has to process. The alcohol you drink, your liver has to process. It is a toxicant, just like, unfortunately, millions of things in our modern human life. We're surrounded by toxicants. The liver is for sure overburdened. Alcohol is one of many things that's tapping the liver. It's not the only thing, though. It's not the most problematic thing, right? The liver is overburdened. Alcohol is one of many things playing a role there. Now, where alcohol does come into play, where it came into play for me this weekend, get a little loose, have a couple too many drinks. Now I'm looking for the snacks. Now we're playing games. It's getting rowdy. Now I want some snacks because, my inhibitions are lowered. I'm not really aware of my fuel needs. I'm having fun. Let's have a handful of chips or whatever, snacks, desserts, kind of eating late night snacky stuff. That adds up. If I was on a weight loss journey, oopsies, all those chips and snacks I ate last night when I was a little buzzed, that wasn't good. Second thing, brutal sleep. And bad sleep is a metabolic factor, for sure. So bad night's sleep, too many snacks, that's not great. The alcohol by itself, non-issue. The way alcohol then has these downstream effects, problem, obviously. The next night, when we went out for dinner, I had a couple cocktails at dinner, and then I was done. We went out to the bar. I didn't have anything. We went home to the rooms. The girls stayed up and drank wine. I went to bed. I was like, you know what? I overdid it on drinks last night. I'm not going to overdo it on drinks again tonight. I'm good. I'm going to bed. See you in the morning. I had a good sleep. Felt great the next day. I felt like I didn't miss anything socially. I don't want to be the person who goes to bed because of health. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, ooh, I'm on a health journey. You're too rowdy. I'm going to bed. It was just like, I'm tired. We've squeezed every drop out of this evening. Some of us had a big night last night. We're good. Saturday night was a little bit more subdued. I stopped drinking after dinner. I didn't go and have any drinks at the bar. Didn't have any drinks to go back to the house and went to bed. And that was not a deprivation. That was me opting into feeling a little better on Sunday. You know what I mean? I wasn't opting out of Saturday night. I was opting into feeling a little better on Sunday morning. And that felt important to me because I knew how absolutely brutal I felt when my alarm went off on Saturday morning to go for the hike and the photo shoot. I was like, never again. I don't want to feel this way again. I will say, it's Monday morning now. I have some residual digestive and sort of brain fog, anxiety issues from the drinking and eating on the weekend, but it's fine. Like, it will resolve itself. I'm not going to die, right? It will resolve itself. I'm going to have a beautiful epic breakfast, some eggs and some meat. I've got fruit and vegetable in the fridge. I can't wait to have gorgeous, nourishing food. I'm hydrating with my San Pellegrino, which I'm still waiting on the brand deal for. So let me just pose with that real quick. A little product placement. The final thing I kind of want to talk about is a really delicate matter. Some of my friends didn't want to come because they weren't feeling their best. By that, I mean, they didn't like the way they looked. And they were like, we're going to go and have this fabulous girls' weekend. We're doing a photo shoot. and we're not feeling confident in the way we look. And they almost didn't come and shared that vulnerably, which I was grateful for. I hear this from women all the time. And I just wonder if this is resonant for anybody listening to this, which is I find myself checking out of social moments, not going on the beach vacation, not going to the lake, not going on the boat, not doing the photos with my family and friends because of the way I look. I'm checking out of community and social connection because of how I look. I don't look good enough. I don't look thin enough. I don't look pretty enough. I'm facially aging. My body's changed. I hate this for women. I hate that some of my friends didn't like the way their faces or bodies looked. And they were like, I didn't even want to come because of how I look. It's like, this is a problem. We are going to die of loneliness. I know that sounds dramatic, but just if you think about the way humans have sort of fractured off and stuck at home in their home offices and having their virtual connections only on their screens, we are in real danger of dying of loneliness. And that should trump almost anything. In a perfect world, you've got to show up. You've got to be in your life. You have to opt into your life. It's mission critical. I always struggle with this because women are thinking about opting out of social moments because they don't think they're beautiful enough by cultural beauty standards. So who gives a shit? Show up anyway. The cultural beauty standards are the problem. You're not the problem. Show up anyway. This is one of the healthiest things you can do. It's one of the most important things you can do. And this is why when my clients say to me, should I go away on the trip? Should I maybe opt out of the girls' weekend? It's like, you damn well better not. You've got to go. This is one of the most important things. It doesn't have to be I burned it all down to the ground, fell off the wagon so hard the wagon exploded. It doesn't have to be that. And there's a lot of programming there that I work on with my clients, which is like, let's just try to figure out how to reorient ourselves back to feeling great. You didn't ruin anything. You had a good time. Was it worth it? Yes or no? Was it worth it? Yes or no? I'm doing that analysis myself. Was it worth it? Hard yes. Hard yes. I got to celebrate one of my dearest friends who's getting married. We had a ridiculous bachelorette party in our 50s. Like, actually, that was really cute to be ridiculous bachelorette crew. We had great conversations. Yes, I ate too much junk food. Yes, I had too much alcohol. Yes, my sleep was shitty. Yes, I'm bloated and headachy today. But that will resolve itself. That's transient. It's not a showstopper unless I decide it is. And the juice was worth the squeeze 100-fold. So interesting. Because I get my clients to perform these little like mini analyses of their own social outings. And by the way, it could be social with friends. It could be, oh, I have work events I have to go to or anything in between. I just like us to create a sense of mindfulness around this and presence. Presence really is more the thing because the word mindfulness has been very overused. But presence is in the moment. What did it feel like? In the moment, were you making the decision to opt in or out of the thing, the next glass of wine or the extra handful of chips or whatever? Were you making a decision in the moment? Like, would you change your mind? Was that worth it? And look at that globally. Like, yes, it was absolutely all worth it. Would not having that handful of chips made it better? No, it didn't make it worse. It wouldn't have made it better. It was a part of a bigger picture. We just got to think more big picture. Like, the thing for me is that there is so much context and nuance in nutrition that is missing when you open your phone and try to get your nutrition information off Instagram. There's no context. There's no nuance. It's very fire hose, sledgehammer, obtuse platitudes that you're just supposed to believe and follow. But you're a dynamic human having a lived experience. And it's incorrect to say that every one of us should follow the same operating manual. I want you to tap into how it felt for you. And you might say, like I am, that was worth it. Or you might say, I don't think that was worth it. And either way, there's no judgment here. It's like good information. Great job. Moving on now. And so the next time you're presented with a girls' weekend, so if I imagine next time I'm presented with a girls' weekend, well, what have I learned? First of all, there's not going to be nearly enough protein at the potluck, so I'll bring more. Secondly, the girls that didn't stay up too late playing games, they were way fresher for the photo shoot. So maybe I'll be one of those girls that sneaks off to bed before I have opened the second bottle of wine and stay up way past my bedtime, having deep conversations with friends. Maybe I'll do that. Thirdly, I was right to have steak for lunch. And when I went to the bar and only drank water, nobody gave a shit. Nobody was like, oh, you're not drinking? Nobody gave a shit. Nobody noticed. We were still having fun. We were still there. I still showed up for my friends. I still showed up for myself and had the social connection that I think is actually one of the healthiest things I'm not doing enough of in my life. It was worth it. And I still learned something. And so the next time I'm presented with this, and by the way, I hope it's soon. I hope I have a chance to do something exactly like that soon because it was so fun. It was so important. It was so human. I have no regret. Like, I just have none. No regret. Not one thing I would have changed. Things I might do differently next time just so I can arrive to Monday morning feeling even better than I do. I feel really good about this weekend, but I have a little bit of a headache and a dry mouth and a stomach ache, and I don't really want that. So if I could get through this weekend feeling really happy and also not having a stomach ache, wouldn't that be even better? Yeah, this is how I approach this stuff. This is how I kind of want you to approach it. At the end of the day, you are living your life. You're not a dieter following a diet. That's why you quit diets, because it's like, this doesn't fit into my life. I was doing so good until, and the dot is usually Christmas dinner or my beach vacation or camping season or whatever. It's like, no, that's part of your life. Your eating plan has to take it into account. If I'm only good as long as I never do anything fun, you're dead in the water. This has to coexist, and it can coexist. And it just requires you to develop some presence. So rather than blindly following a plan, actually have the full experience of your life and how food and drink and other healthy things like sleep and stress management and play and social connections, how this all fits in. The really elaborate fabric of human health is not just diet and exercise, it's everything. So I want you to think that way. And now for women, that's big reprogramming because we only think diet and exercise, cardio and salads, baby. That's what we know. Actually, there's more to it than that, and that's good news. That means that diet and exercise, they're big dial movers for sure, but there's other dial movers. How are the other dials? Have you hung out with your friends lately? Do you even have friends? I would solve that problem. And if in solving that problem, you overconsume wine one night or you have a handful of chips, I think that might come out in the wash, my dear. I think that might be okay. Let's dust off and move on. So I hope this is a helpful little share. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you.